if the metaphor is that we are a sea, a frozen sea, if there's something about us which is potentially great and fluid and alive, but we're not alive, and philosophy is somehow the answer, where do you start with that? What does philosophy do with the self?
Well, I mean, the metaphor of the frozen sea is oversaturation.
It's your metaphor, right?
Right, it's my metaphor.
Right.
Actually, I stole it from Kafka. Kafka said a good book is like an axe at the frozen sea, and
we all can steal from Kafka.
And I appropriated that for philosophy because I think it works appropriately it resonates with me. I mean, that philosophy is an axe of the frozen sea. It's a way of shattering the oversaturation which alienates me from myself, from my own brain, from my own mind, from my own body, from my emotions, from my relations with others. Once I start living a quote-unquote normal, ordinary life, I'm inculcated in the tissue of metaphors. I've got an operating system built out of a variety of theories that I don't even recognize as theories. I take them for reality. I take them for truth. And I've sort of loaded up all these thoughts and concepts on my way here through education, through influences by my environment. And once I fail to recognize the world that I've constructed or has been constructed for me, and myself as a construction within that, I need something to loosen all this up to get this entire world and self flowing, so that I begin to ask questions of myself, of my world, of others, in a way that lets me see things with a certain innocence, with a clarity and a wonder and amusement that I lose once life has sort of, the currents of life have frozen into a variety of actions.
You're taking me on a long journey. I'm glad I have it on tape. But let me bring you back. There's a bunch of assumptions I just want to check out with you. I'm not sure. I mean, all of them or some of them are rather startling. As a self, you say you're alienated from yourself. That strikes me as something that people might go, what? Let me come back to that. In the shadow of that question, I have a second one. You're assuming we're rather complex, crazy entities. Is that what we are?
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about you.
Yeah.
We're sort of talking about. How the hell did this all happen? Wasn't it ever simple once? I mean, isn't there some simplicity in life? Why are we condemned to be complex, wacky creatures? Is that your view here?
I think, yeah. I mean, if you're asking about the world as a whole.
No, I'm asking about.
Just about us.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any simplicity as ordinarily conceived in there. I think it's Leibniz said we're infinite. The difference between us and ordinary machines is we're a machine. We're an infinite machine that's machines all the way down, but each one of them infinite. So we're it's not just one infinity. It's infinity within infinity within infinity. I mean, it's part of the amazing things that we discover by looking at the parts of which we're made. When you look at our cells, when you look at atoms, when you look at quarks, when you look at there's an infinity of complexity everywhere we turn. It's like a Mandelbrot that any little part you blow up has its own infinity. So no, I don't believe that there's simple units out of which we're made. No.
But not only that, and let me knit this back to the first question. Not only are we we're infinite machines all the way down. That's what makes me nauseous. No, there's a sense of like, yeesh, right?
But we're machines at least, which means we're understandable.
Yeah, but we're machines alienated from ourselves, like bad software working here. I mean, so there's
software that's trying to write itself.
Yeah.
It's like we've got we've got reality 2.8, okay? We've got reality 98 that's running for some of us. Some of us are still living in DOS. Some of us are living in software that was written 2,800 years ago
Right.
or 3,000 years ago that they get in little books, religious software that programs you and fixes you. We've got philosophical, scientific ideas that change, and we have a variety. It's like a variety of operating systems, a variety of interpretation schemes, and we've got to operate with all of them
and
without understanding even what they are.
And when you say we're alienated, are we sick? Are we lost and we have to be found? Are we trying to fix ourselves? I'm trying to get a...
We're what I would call properly dysfunctional.
Well, I'm clueless on that.
If you a perfect system, I mean a complete system, a system that works perfectly well and is functions is the way we might construe in some ideal, perfect way, doesn't fit in this world as it exists. What makes us evolutionary systems, evolving systems, is that we are imperfect in perfect ways. I mean, what's missing, it's like a melody that can't complete itself. What's missing is constantly trying to fix itself. I mean, as we fail to understand ourselves, we constantly build new philosophies, new systems, new sciences, new tools, new methods that get us up to the next level, and then there are all sorts of new problems come about that we then try to fix, which keeps the whole thing moving. It's an evolving system. It's a system that isn't completable as far as I can see, but that's part of what makes it alive. I mean, that's why it's alive and not dead.
Well, I'm just trying to attach metaphors here because I can feel it, but I can't quite get to it. Now, I'll get you guys in 1 second. So when you said that we're not in Eden anymore.
Never were. There is none.
So we should be happy we got kicked out of the garden, right?
There was no garden. We didn't get kicked out. There was nothing to get kicked out.
But there's a myth that we got kicked out of the garden.
That's right.
Where's the myth and why? Because what? This was a dream that we have a dream that there was a perfect place where we weren't alienated?
It's one way that we have of motivating ourselves to try to fix ourselves, to improve ourselves. And the proper function of such myths, like any story. Why do you tell children stories?
To stop them from using the permanent marker on the dining room table. That's why.
To inspire them to think creatively, to make up their own stories.
To what end?
To dream better dreams.
That's it?
Yeah, to improve experience, to make reality more real, to connect. Bertrand Russell said the value of philosophy is ultimately to connect ourselves with the universe. I mean, this is from a fellow who was not a mystic or anything. I think there's something to that. The mind, in trying to deal with its own ignorance and finding itself, doesn't know how it got here or what it is. It took us a long time before we could even get a language to talk about consciousness, to talk about all these things that are going on within us, to name them so that we could talk about them and think about them. This is something that takes a very long time. You can't just get at it and expect that the world and yourself is someone just by itself going to fall into place. You have to be actively involved.